Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. We're looking at a new psalm, Psalm 74. We're almost halfway through the entire book of Psalms. Now remember, we mentioned that Asaph, one of the chief musicians in the tabernacle, the temple there in Jerusalem, was the writer of the previous Psalm 73, also Psalm 50, the first 11 Psalms of book 3 here that we're in now in the book of Psalms. But now when you look at this Psalm and you read the contents of it, you have to ask the question, now, what Asaph was this that wrote this psalm? Was it the Asaph, the chief musician in David's time, the first Asaph that David appointed to be the worship leader? Or maybe it was one of his descendants, because obviously as you read the contents of this psalm, if it was the David Asaph, okay, living in the time of David, this is a prophetic psalm. He's looking ahead to a time when God is going to forsake his people. The tabernacle, the temple is going to be raided. It's going to be like torn down. The meeting places of God are going to be in the land, are going to be burned with fire. A terrible time when it looks like God has forsaken his people prophetically. But most people believe that this is written by an Asaph who was a descendant of the Asaph of David's time, and he wrote it probably during or after the Babylonian invasion, where they destroyed Solomon's temple. They took the spoils of war. They cut down the walls of the temple, getting all the gold of them, taking down the stones. I mean, just taken the place into total desolation. He's looking at this terrible crisis that the people are in, and he's crying out to God to remember to take his hand out of his bosom, take his hand out of his garment, and do something about this terrible, terrible dilemma, crisis that the people are in. Now, one of the things that I'm amazed at when I read this psalm, it's as if the psalmist, whoever he is writing about today. When we look at what is happening in the denial of God in our country and in our world, the lewdness, the wickedness, the perversion, all the violence and chaos that's going on, it's as if God is not doing one thing about it. Where are you, God, when babies and children and innocent people are being destroyed in Ukraine? Where are you, God, when people are starving to death in India? Where are you, God, when people are being thrown into prison in China and other places, the Sudan and other places of the world? And this is a psalm that teaches us how to pray, because that's what it says. It's a contemplation of Asaph. It's a maskil. It's a psalm of instruction and teaching us how to pray in the time of crises and turn to the Lord. So let's read some of these verses. Hope the introduction somewhat helps you. Hope it doesn't confuse you. And as we continue through the Psalms, oh God, why have you cast us off forever? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation, which you have purchased of old, the tribe of your inheritance, which you have redeemed, this Mount Zion, where you have dwelt. Oh, lift up your feet to the perpetual desolations. The enemy has damaged everything in the sanctuary. Your enemies roar in the midst of your meeting place. They set up their banners for signs. They seem like men who lift up axes among the thick trees. And now they break down its carved works all at once with axes and hammers. They have set fire to your sanctuary. They have defiled the dwelling place of your name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let's destroy them altogether. They burned up all the meeting places of God in the land. We do not see our signs. There is no longer any prophet, nor is there any among us who knows how long. Oh God, how long will the adversary reproach? Will the enemy blaspheme your name forever? Why do you withdraw? Why do you withdraw your hand, even your right hand? Take it out of your bosom and destroy them. Boy, what a prayer! What a terrible crisis they have. But the psalmist, he cries out to God. And my friend, that's what we can do right now in our present crises in our nation and in our world. Let's depend upon God to bring the deliverance that only He can bring. Let's focus on Him. God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.